The horrors of the White House torture chamber and rape room. The abuses. It has taken me almost 20 years, working 7 days a week, to expose the secrets of the White House torture chamber and rape room. Deep in the underbrush of the North Florida woods lay the decaying bodies of 32 young, innocent boys, some beaten to death, some raped, and a few of them burnt to death at the hand of individuals employed by the state of Florida. State employees who locked and chained many of these young boys in their dormitory building, leaving them unattended to burn to death while they visited a house of ill repute in downtown Marianna, Florida. Many of the boys who survived, some as young as 9 years old, were brutally beaten and some raped for what some state employees considered to be crimes against humanity. Terrible crimes, evil deeds, such as not having a smile on their face, accidentally dropping a pat of butter or a pancake on the floor, eating too fast or too slowly, picking up and eating a wild blackberry along the side of the road, or for not making their beds correctly. The White House torture chamber was and still is located at the Florida School for Boys at Marianna, now known as the Arthur G. Dozier School for Boys. The beatings and inhumane treatment of hundreds of boys continued until 1967. The St. Petersburg Times reported that several Florida juvenile judges began refusing to sentence boys to that facility because of the horror stories reaching their benches. Several high-ranking judges actually visited the facility and stated that they had never witnessed more deplorable conditions and that they were absolutely sickened by what they considered to be nothing more than the Nazi concentration camp treatment of young children. The beatings were initiated using 2.5-foot leather strap. A piece of sheet metal was sewn between two thick pieces of leather. Some of the beatings so brutal that it embedded many of the boys' underwear or their pajamas into their buttocks. Cotton material which had to be surgically removed by the institution's aging physician. Deep inside a small, moldy, concrete and steel reinforced building, a massive industrial fan would be turned on in hopes it would muffle the sounds of the screaming children. Then the leather would drop, sounding as if it were a double-barrel shotgun blast which had just exploded several inches from their ear. 9, 10, 11, and 12-year-old boys cried out in excruciating pain as their small bodies were pushed down into the mattress and steel springs, sometimes bouncing the small cot off the floor more than half an inch. Hundreds of small pockets of blood exploded from their buttocks, their backs, and their legs with every powerful blow. 20, 30, 40, 50, sometimes more than 100 blasts of that leather shotgun fell down on many an innocent child. In some instances, monetary bets were made between the state employees that blood could be drawn on the first blow. Beatings and blows so powerful that puddles of blood would be left on the wall, ceiling, bed, and pillow. This is a case where 10 or 15 supposedly responsible adults were given state constitutional power to supervise and discipline children. However, within a matter of months, top officials at the facility went crazy, and the entire juvenile system at that facility went totally berserk. Within weeks, even the responsible officials at the institution eventually turned a blind eye to the Nazi concentration camp type tactics that were being used. Unable to expose the abuses, they soon became commonplace and continued for almost 40 years. During that period, several men were fired for beating the boys and for leaving a trail of blood on the wall, ceiling, and floor of the building. However, their high-paying positions were later reinstated by high-ranking politicians. Many of these boys were sent to the Florida School for Boys for crimes as minor as running away from physically or sexually abusive homes. Some for offenses as simple as climbing a tree, getting a drink of water, or going to the bathroom without first asking permission. One, maybe two, out of several hundred boys might be classified as what society would consider to be a true criminal. On one occasion, I was taken to the White House and given 60 lashes. I was beaten on my buttocks, back, legs, neck, and face. Beaten so badly that when I returned to the office, not one person could recognize who I was. When I walked into the bathroom and looked in the mirror, I saw nothing more than a bloody monster. That terrible, bloody creature still resides somewhere deep down inside me today. Why is this incident important today? The treatment of these young boys was very traumatic, and it was a life-changing experience for many. Each and every one of them still live with these horrible thoughts embedded in their memories. Those of us who survived will forever live with the scars of disappointment in our buttocks, backs, legs, expressions on our faces, and in our mind. In some cases, many of these embedded feelings have unknowingly been transferred to our own children and grandchildren. Many of these boys, now men, have been married 4, 5, and 6 times. Many still unable to trust or have faith in their fellow man. As the bloody handprints of rehabilitation still mar the walls of this horrible building, with the help of Robert Straley, Michael O. McCarthy, Dick Colon, and Bill Willie Hayes, on October 21, 2008, the White House torture chamber and rape room was officially sealed forever by the state of Florida. A plaque and a freshly planted tree will forever mark the spot where hundreds of young, innocent boys living in the United States of America were brutally beaten, abused, raped, and killed.